what you're talking at is about talking at people being trained to talk at people
Mm.
was, what you're talking about. And you're saying there's these other alternatives. So talk me through what's the alternative? Yeah.
Yeah, it's more about talking with, and it's more about just listening and having a conversation of understanding what are the challenges. Like years ago, it was all about feature, function, benefit. This was the sales methodology and the process, right? This is a feature, this is the product, this is what it does, this is the solution. Well, it's not like that. It's changed. It's really about, because so many things now in business have changed. And it's really understanding what the challenge is. Now, if I went to a CEO, like years ago, it was just tell me your problems and I'll solve them,
Hmm.
right? That's not what it is now. It's more about understanding the challenges. So, what gets you up of a morning? What are your
Let's use
biggest,
this again.
what is the biggest challenge that you find in your business at the moment? Because it could be something that I can solve. However, I really want to understand your business. And this is like when I teach about new business, because that's my forte, and when I'm teaching business owners and BDMs, it's understanding what is it that your solution can do that can help me, And I had those conversations a lot with CEOs. I said, what annoys you when people come in here trying to sell your product? They go, they just don't understand my business. They don't understand what I do. There's such a discord. Nothing resonates the same. So why do I want to waste my time talking with them, Sharon? So it's really interesting. I said, okay. So it's always understanding what the challenge. And years ago, it was like, just tell me your pain points, like what I said before. Well, if you asked a CEO or an MD, what's your pain points? They're going to shut down. That conversation's just gone. You've lost them. But if you're meeting with them for the first time or you're meeting them at the event, so tell me about your business. What are you finding the biggest challenges, especially with COVID that's happened? Wow, you've just opened up Pandora's box. You're now having a conversation. And this is where my number one rule in new business, active listen. Listen, 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 because that's when you're going to get the golden nuggets to be able to have that conversation further. And it's taking notes. And this is where when you're having those conversations with those directors, it's, do you mind if I take notes? Yep, sure. They actually respect that, and this is where a lot of people go, oh, it's that simple. It's a simple, basic 101. Take notes. Okay, because that's your open-ended questions for any objection or anything to take the conversation further, because then you're building value.
Mm. And clearly valuing what they're saying by putting it in writing.
Absolutely. And it's showing integrity. It's showing empathy. It shows that you care. What that does also, it builds trust. It starts building trust that they're then taking and going, wow, she's really listening. Like I still have CEOs to this day that started with me years ago that will ring me off the cuff and go, hey, Sharon, I've got a new team that I'm forming. I really want to get your opinion on this. Okay, well, tell me that challenge that you got with them at the moment. Well, this is what's happening. Okay, well, what I would do maybe as a suggestion, only a suggestion, maybe let's look at this. But you know what? Let me think about that. Let me come back with an email with some process around that of what I think would work for you. Straight away, when that happens, they just go, wow, Sharon, can I catch up with you in June so then we can sit down and have more about this conversation? And I'm like, that's okay. I'll send it through to you, process it, and then we'll talk further.
Because all of the things you're saying are what I talk to people about when having any conversation with someone, who's having a tough time. Because what you're saying is that your client's having a tough time with something, and it's just figuring out what that is in a way that says to them, "Hey, I'm here and I'm valuing what you're saying. I'm ready to listen. I've turned up and I'm ready to listen. And I want to know what it is that's causing you trouble." It's that exact same conversation. That's why I love this.
Exactly. It's the same conversation. And that's why when I talk about my methodology and framework and I talk about the 4 Cs, and we'll
Yes.
touch on that, the 4 Cs, I call it, communication. So, and under each one of those modules that I have on my 4 Cs is the module to do with the framework of the processes of sales. But it's conversation is the number one. The second is the clarity.
Yeah.
It's clarity around everything with your message,
Yep.
and then it's been consistent. It's showing up, follow up. And then it's the commitment. It's your responsibility of what is your commitment. Now, those 4 C's, when I wrote that paper and I use that in everything with the sales, and then I talk about my 5 steps of winning new business. Each one of those modules with the 4 C's correlates with my 5 steps of new business. If those 4 C's, if you look at any industry, they've all got one of those C's, all 3 of those C's, where it's about communication, clarity, consistency. I think sometimes they forget about the commitment.
Oh,
It's,
yeah.
that's the one. So, but mind you, they can't copy what I've done, right?
No. No,
But it's the same thing. Doesn't matter what you do, what industry,
but that's
they're
not
the
talking
same
about
things.
sales, Sharon.
No, not at all.
That's not a sales process. I know you've got your back end, which makes it into and translates it into a sales process. I know that. But those 4 C's, they're not a sales process whatsoever. They're just being human.
Correct. It's showing the human side of you, but it's about the conversation. And it doesn't matter what you do, it's the same thing, whatever industry. Same with the sporting industry. I mean, I came from netball career, and same thing when I would do training with the girls and at very high levels, same thing. Guys, it's a communication, how you communicate.
Being
It's
clear and transparent on everything.
absolutely, it's being consistent. It's being committed, coming to training. You want to be on this squad?
Show up.
That's it. Same thing, same process.
Right. Because this is why I wanted to bring a sales conversation into what I do. I mean, it to a lot of people, it's like, this isn't going to make sense. Julie's mental well-being, like, how does sales come into that?
Mm.
I think people now can understand why it comes into it.